2014, the government has held 2 rounds of official talks with the underground Netra Bikram Chand-led Nepal Communist Party in an effort to rope them into mainstream politics. The government looks determined on addressing the demands put forth by the group, which was banned in the aftermath of a series of bombings in Kathmandu Valley in 2019. The latest development suggests the banned outfit might make an entry into mainstream politics sooner than later. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama, and these are the top stories of the hour. The government and underground Netra Bikram Chand-led Nepal Communist Party hold official meetings, a positive conclusion expected soon. The Dahal Nepal faction to form an alliance with Nepal Congress to oust Prime Minister Oli. Nepal Congress President Deuba says he is ready to lead the new government. At least 38 killed and many others injured in Myanmar as the junta government continues crackdown on protesters. The UN describes it as the bloodiest day since the coup. And Barcelona reached the finals of Copa del Rey, overturning a 2-goal first leg deficit as they defeat Sevilla 3-2 in the second leg semi-final. The government and the banned Netra Bikram Chand-led group held a dialogue yesterday. The meetings, held in 2 separate sessions at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar, agreed to prepare a list of leaders and cadres of the party that are in police custody and those who are awaiting trial. During the meetings, the Chand-led group demanded for the release of its leaders and cadres. The talks ended after the government sought time to prepare data on how many cases could be withdrawn from those already on trial. One of the talk team members, Rajan Bhattarai, informed that the meetings ended positively and that the 2 sides agreed to sit for another round after the list is prepared. Now, the main opposition, Nepal Congress, has emerged stronger a candidate to lead the new government, as both the factions of ruling NCP seem to have ruled out the possibility of coming together. The main opposition is positive on the proposal made by the Pushpakamal Dahal Madhav Kumar Nepal faction to form an alliance and oust Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli.
The chairman duo of the Dahal Nepal faction, Pushpakamal Dahal and Madhav Kumar Nepal, while visiting the capital's civil hospital on Wednesday to receive COVID-19 vaccines, stated that they would form a coalition government including all parties. The faction is ready to give Nepali Congress the opportunity to lead the coalition government as Premier Oli refused to step down. Following the reinstatement of the House of Representatives, both the chairman of the faction had reached Nepali Congress President Sherbahadur Deuba's residence in Budalinkanta and proposed him to become the next Prime Minister. A group which made its first priority to form a new government with the support of the lawmakers from the Oli-led faction opted for the Congress-led new government after it failed to do so. Meanwhile, Nepali Congress President Deuba stated that the main opposition party is ready to take responsibility to lead the new government. Prior to Deuba's statement, General Secretary of the party Shashank Koirala had said that Nepali Congress was ready to form a government with the support of the Dahal Nepal faction. Political analysts opined that the process to oust Premier Oli would be easy if Nepali Congress would back the Dahal Nepal faction in this regard.
The Securities Board of Nepal had amended the Stock Exchange Operation Regulations some 13 years back with a provision to provide broker license to banks. However, on top of the lack of implementation of the provision, the board has begun process to provide licenses to a handful of companies at provincial levels.
The Securities Board of Nepal introduced the Stock Exchange Operation Regulation 2064 some 13 years back and allowed banks to open a subsidiary for stock exchange operation. The central bank reiterated the same provision in its monetary policy 2 years back, following which 10 banks opened subsidiaries and applied for broker license at the Nepal Stock Exchange. However, the Securities Board of Nepal has yet to begin necessary processes. The board's current leadership, meanwhile, has hinted against providing the license to banks and issuing provincial-level licenses and appointing provincial representatives for the board instead. Analysts have opined the board is under the influence of existing broker companies and is gearing up to provide licenses to a handful of individuals instead of public companies.
किन हामी त अब संहितामा गइसक्यौं त्यसैले प्रादेशिक स्तरमा ब्रोकरको लाइसेन्स दिने व्यवस्था गर्ने र अर्को चाहिँ नि यो बैंकको सब्सिडियरीहरुलाई पनि दिने व्यवस्था गर भनेर चाहिँ हामीले निर्देशन दिइसकेको अवस्था छ हैन र पछिल्लो चरणमा चाहिँ नि भनौं उहाँहरुले पनि अब त्यो एउटा विधि त बनाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ त्यो विधि बनाएर चाहिँ हाम्रो बोर्डको फिडब्याकलाई पनि पठाउनु भएको थियो हैन र हामीले केही फिडब्याकहरू दिएर पठाएको छौं भनेपछि प्रादेशिक स्तरमा चाहिँ नि पनि ब्रोकरहरू संख्या थप्दै जाने भन्ने लाइनमा चाहिँ नि भनौं न जुन हामीले निर्देशन दिएको छौं त्यो अनुसारको इम्प्लिमेन्टेसनमा जानको लागि चाहिँ नेप्सेले तयारीहरू गरिरहेको छ.
The Parliament's Finance Committee has directed the board to provide licenses to applicant banks, however, has put forth conditions that the board needs to fulfill ahead of it. Meanwhile, the board has yet to take necessary steps. Nepal is the only country in all of South Asia that has yet to provide broker licenses to banks. 5 banks in India have subsidiaries that operate stock exchange. Around 3 million individuals have a demat account in Nepal, 376,000 of whom carry out share transactions online. All of these individuals are compelled to carry out transactions through 51 of the existing brokers.
बैंकलाई मात्रै चाहिँ लाइसेन्स दिने भन्ने कुरा पनि सही होइन. अघि बैंकलाई दिनु हुँदैन भन्ने पनि सही होइन. यो ब्रोकर लाइसेन्सको कुरालाई यति ठुलो विषय बनाउन आवश्यक थिएन. यो ओपन गरेर सबैलाई सबै भन्नाले जो क्वालिफाइड छ, जो पुँजी पनि ल्याउन सक्छ र काम गर्न पनि सक्ने खालको मान्छेहरू क्वालिफाइड एजुकेटेड मान्छेहरू हुन्छ उनीहरूलाई संस्था बनाएर दिइनुपर्छ. त्यसो गर्दाखेरि सबैको लागि फेयर हुन्छ. बैंकहरूले पनि पाउँछ, इन्डिभिजुअल अरु चाहिँ व्यक्तिहरूले पनि संस्था खोलेर काम गर्न पाउँछ. इन्टरनेशनल प्र्याक्टिस नै यही हो.
Analysts opine the board's reluctance in implementing the regulations and its preparation to provide licenses to a handful of people depicts that the board is under the influence of interest groups.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked locals in Pachthar, why has the state failed to ensure adequate women's participation? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
आफू सशक्त भएर चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ र परपुरुषको भरमा चाहिँ निर्भर हुनु हुँदैन भन्ने पनि लाग्छ मलाई.
जुन कुराहरू उठान गरेर बनाइसकेको ऐन कानुनहरू छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ तदारुकताका साथ कार्यान्वयन गर्नको लागि सबै प्रतिबद्धता हुनुपर्छ.
आर्थिक रूपमा चाहिँ महिलाहरू सबल हुनु हो भने आफ्नो अधिकारको लागि चाहिँ कसैलाई सहायता माग्नु पनि पर्दैन. आफै सक्षम भएर लड्न सक्छ.
अगाडि बढौं भन्ने अलिकति महिलामा पनि कमजोरी छ.
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, why has the Securities Board of Nepal not provided broker licenses to banks? Your options are A. Inadequate process, B. Influence of broker companies, and C. Uninterested banks. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.